Hi all, and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman Zero 2. Last time we declawed a panther and stole Neo-Arcadian goods for our own personal use. Now while that last mission was a little bit on the unpleasant side, this next one is actually one of the most interesting in the game. We'll be going to the power room to fight Phoenix Magneon, and I'm honestly really looking forward to this. We'll be going into the new Rise form we just acquired, which gives us a little bit of a speed boost and lets us use a super powerful upward slash for our saber combo, which will actually come in rather useful in this stage as you'll be seeing. See you there! Immediately upon transferring in, we're able to see that factory that Elpaz was talking about there in the background. I've always liked that as a bit of an extra touch. Anyway, this stage is a little unique as far as Mega Man games go, in that it's not completely linear. See, our objective here is to destroy each and every one of 4 power reactors, but they aren't arranged on a single path, which means we get a lot of branching pathways that I'll be showing off. It's really quite cool. These guys are called Telly bombs, and they're returning faces from old Mega Man games, in which Tellys were a common feature. They tend to float around and try to follow you. However, they get a little more interesting in this version in that they blow up, and the stage is actually designed almost entirely around them, in that many of the stage elements are capable of being blown up by the Telly bombs, including enemies, so using strategic placement of your attacks, you're able to manipulate them every which way, causing basically everything to blow up. If you hit them with the Buster Shot, they'll just go straight, but the Saber lets you angle them in pretty much any direction you could choose. Here's the first of the secrets. You really shouldn't be able to figure that one out by yourself, it's just a random ceiling, but if you hit it with a Telly Bomb, it'll open up this secret passage. Cyber Elf Grande is one of the big Cyber Elves, like the one we got in the Forest of Dices. This one doubles your max health capacity. There was one just like it called Winky in the first game. They tend to recycle suffixes for the same effects. This guy's a mini-boss. You wouldn't normally encounter him if you're just going on the normal path. He's called Gazamir, and he's based off of the Gazami crab, which Wikipedia tells me is the Japanese name for the horse crab. He's okay, I guess. He shoots out a lot of bubbles at you, which you just have to rapid fire to take care of. He'll go up and down, you just have to follow his path, and he'll also, if you let him survive too long, do this really annoying attack where he'll grab onto the ladder and then fall down really fast, and it's almost impossible to dodge. Here's our first power reactor, and it's actually the last one you'd normally face. It went down pretty quickly there, but we'll be getting more chances to talk about it. Only takes 4 hits, and whenever you kill the first one, it'll give you that Cyber Elf. It doesn't matter which one you kill first. And each of them has a little different function. You might have noticed there when he attacked, his shot split on the floor. Those top enemies have had variants throughout the Mega Man series, and they're really annoying in that they cannot be killed. I used the chain rod there just to show off how you can grab certain items that aren't normally accessible. I'm actually going to be cutting here because I'm going back to the normal path. We'll be coming back here through an alternate path, but this stage has a really odd layout and it's hard to show off the entire thing, so we're back to the secret ceiling. Those enemies down there are rather interesting. They'll change their elemental attack based on what element you have equipped, but their default is the fire attack. This one's the easiest of the reactors in that his bullets don't bounce off the ground, so you can just stand on the ledge over there and rapid fire him to your heart's content. You see, we get the Cyber Elf once again. Once again, the Telly bombs feature prominently here in that the spikes are instant kill, but they can be destroyed by the Telly bombs. That was another one of those elemental changing enemies, but the Telly bombs are all really strategically placed, so you can take care of pretty much all the really annoying enemies in the stage just through manipulation of them. This one does have the whole bouncing bullets, so Rise form is very helpful there. Now we could continue on to the right here, but instead I'm going to go back to the left and through this wall I just blew up. This one's another one of the secret areas that you don't necessarily have to go to, and it's a bit more fair than the secret ceiling simply because you can actually see it's there. I like to call this the pipe room because, well, it's filled with pipes, and it's also really cramped, which means you're going to have to be really careful with how you manipulate the Telly bombs here, because otherwise you're going to be hit by one of those explosions, and they do quite a bit of damage. Area to the left just leads to a bunch of different E crystals, But there's a rather dangerous secret cyber elf down here, right above the lava, that you can get by hitting the telly bombs way, way down there. That one can be really annoying to get. There's got another secret over here. If you lure this telly bomb, you can destroy the floor. This one leads to a second secret mini-boss, and I'm actually going to be switching to the elemental chips to show off how elemental weaknesses work in this game. I'm also going to turn on the spark shot for later use. This guy's the Golem type F, and you'll probably notice he's rather similar to the Golem type E we saw in the intro stage. He only has 2 attacks. He'll use that fire ring that is quite reminiscent of circus shows with lions and such, and he'll also spit out fire. First time he'll do it very close to you, and second time he'll spit it out to the far side of the room. Really not all that challenging. And because he's weak to the elect chip, the charged shield boomerang does quite a bit of damage. Our rewards are Cyber Elves, lots of E-crystals, and a 1-up. However, the path ends there, which seems rather odd to me. So we gotta backtrack. Through rather unnecessary boss doors. This stage is absolutely huge, and it gives you a really large time requirement, but it still comes pretty close if you want to get everything on one run. Now you might be recognizing this part. It looks quite a bit like how the stage was laid out after the secret ceiling, and yeah, another Gazamir. I don't really like that because, you know, do we really need 2 versions of the same boss? I'd reference an old joke about opposing large crustaceans, but that probably makes some of you crabby. Incidentally, we get a Buster Shot skill up from him, which is nice at least. This allows us to charge our Buster up to its 3rd form and thus use elemental chips with him. We got it because we were unloading so many Buster Shots into his face, which is kind of nice. Elemental chips stun those top enemies for a bit longer than they would if you just attacked them normally, which is a nice perk. This bit's a little evil because there's a Cyber Elf hidden within these enemies, but there aren't enough enemies in this stage to actually get it if you're not, like, killing them multiple times for no reason whatsoever. So, yeah, you're probably not going to be finding that one. Reactor number 3 is exactly the same as reactor number 2. There's really no difference. And we're back to the place we were after taking the secret ceiling room. Falling down, this is where we would have been if we had walked right from reactor number 2. But there's also another secret in here, and this one's actually probably the coolest in the game. See, this is actually a bit of a mini-game. These guys are called toy tanks, and the objective here is to kill all of them. Now, this would normally be really, really annoying if you're trying to use the Buster Shot, seeing as all these kilns of molten metal, I guess, are blocking your shots, but the Spark Shot that I previously equipped justifies its existence pretty much solely through this one section because it manages to destroy, like, a ridiculous amount of them with a single shot. If you manage to destroy all of them, then something called a U4 will go flying by like that. It goes extremely fast and it's really, really hard to hit, but your reward is very, very worth it. Now, it takes forever for it to actually fall, so I'm just going to jump cut forward so you don't have to watch all of that. I'm also going to de-equip the Spark Shot because it's fulfilled its purpose. Oddly enough, this is the 3rd and final of the large Cyber Elves. They put 2 of them in the same stage. I don't really get that. But this one is Dabble, and it doubles the effectiveness of dropped items, which means health will restore twice as much, and E-crystals will give you twice as many whenever you pick them up. Quite nice. Now, what you're not seeing here is this actually loops the stage. We're back at reactor number 4, the first one we fought after taking the secret ceiling route. And that entire, like, horizontal section basically just forms one big circle. You can't see it because it's just, you know, 2D. But that door loops you back to the left side of the stage. Bossy here won't show up until you actually defeat the 4th reactor, so you could fight it here, or you could fight it at any of the other 3 locations where there are reactors. Phoenix Magnion is honestly probably the hardest boss fight out of the initial set, simply because of how confusing he can be. The way this guy works is he's a master of deception. He's just gonna sit there until you strike first, at which point he'll teleport out of the way and attack himself. This clone attack probably isn't showing up too well due to frame rate issues, but each of them can hurt you, and only one of them can be hurt by you. I'm making it look really easy here because the Thunder Chip stuns him and knocks him out of most of his attack patterns. But if you don't have it, be prepared for a hell of a fight because he does tons of damage and can be really hard to avoid. The attack he's using right now with these big fireballs is signaled by the room rumbling, and it actually changes depending on what room you're in. See, some of the rooms only have a few slag pits and are really easy to dodge, but this one's easily the hardest because you have to be standing right in the middle if you want to dodge. He has a lot of really cool attacks that I didn't get to show off because they require you actually getting hit, and I was really close to the time limit here, so I'm actually going to be revisiting him after showing off all our spoils of war. Stay tuned! Clear time requirement here is 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so I was cutting a bit close to the quick. We get the Flame Chip, which is basically the Thunder Chip except fire, so it's good against enemies like, icy people. The 10,000, I have no idea how to pronounce that, is the Heaven Rising Slash, and it's actually really, really fun. I can't wait to use it. We also get the X form for killing 50 things in that stage with the Buster Shot. It can be really hard to get it in basically any other stage, but because there are so many toy tanks in this one, it's pretty easy. Especially with the Spark Shot. Showcase time! The X form, as its name implies, amplifies the power of your ranged attacks. Unfortunately, it doesn't transform your forearm into a cannon, but it does increase the damage done by your shots. It also allows you to have 4 on screen at once, so you can just non-stop rain death upon your enemies. The 10,000 is an upward saber slash executed by holding up and the saber button. Because of this, it doesn't make you sacrifice any other moves, which makes it very nice. I'll always have it equipped. X-Form, unfortunately, has the drawback of defaulting your combo slash to the second step in the combo, which means you won't be doing lots of melee damage, so I don't use it all that much, seeing as I'm a big fan of the saber. If you equip the Fire Chip, the 10,000 also gets the Fire Elemental added to it. It only happens with the Fire Chip, and it makes it go a bit higher, and bypasses having to charge for elemental damage. Very nice. Switching back to Phoenix here, because seriously, some of his attacks are really, really cool. Firstly is his EX skill Rising Flame. You actually saw him execute this. He wreathes himself in golden flames, and if he manages to hit you, he'll hit you over there and do the name justice. Rising Flames indeed. He is a Phoenix. And speaking of Phoenixes, they're known for reviving, and because of that, you get this move. He revives 4 Mavericks from Zero's pasts. The ones that just showed up were Vile from X1, Agile from X2, Bit from X3, and Colonel from X4. I'll be elaborating a bit on those guys in the thread. Rest assured, they're very cool cameos. He only uses his EX skill if he's at half health or below, which is why I started out with only half his health bar there. And he can kill you pretty darn fast. I'll be seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.